This one?
That's it, yeah.
Big silence.
Close the door, please. Is that okay? Thank you.
Preparing for difficult questions. Okay.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Hotspur Way. First of all, obviously, I'll introduce you to our new head coach, Jose Mourinho. Just quickly talk through how this afternoon will work. We will start with broadcast questions. Obviously, there's a lot of people in the room, so we will be operating roaming mics. We've got Liam there and Josh on the side. If they raise their hands, they'll pass the microphone to you. Once we conclude broadcast questions, we'll move on to the written part of the press conference, and that will be embargoed till 10:30 tonight. In terms of languages, I'm conscious there's a lot of languages in the room today from different parts of the world. Obviously, in order for everyone to understand the questions and the answers, I would prefer if all the questions and answers are in English today, please. Squad news has been circulated and it is available on our club channels, and it's also been sent to everyone, so you should all have the team news now as well. We will start with the first questions, which will start with Gary. If you want to raise your hand, Gary, so they can pass it down. If you do have a question, please raise your hand and we'll get a microphone to you at some point, okay? Gary.
Welcome to Tottenham. Welcome back to the Premier League. Great to have you back.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
You said in the summer that in your first news conference in your new job, you'd be smiling, and you certainly are.
I'm smiling for today's good afternoon. First of all, I think I have to, and I do it with a bit of sadness, but I have to do it. I have to speak about Mauricio. I have to congratulate him for the work he did, and I have to share with you what we already share indoors, which is this club will be always his home. This training ground will be always his training ground. He can come when he wants, when he miss the players, when he miss the people that he work with. The door is always open for him. And from my experience, tomorrow is another day, and you will find happiness again. You will find a great club again, and you will have a great future. Would be in modern days very bad news if this is the last time he loses his job, because that's our life. The point is we give everything every day like he did at the club, and to live obviously with a sad feeling, but to live with the feeling that he did a great work. So I would like just to say that, because it's what everybody at the club feels about it. You will be always welcome. In relation to your question, I'm a bit disappointed that you are happy that I'm here, because I thought you'd like to keep me at Sky. But that's okay. We are friends, and you know very, very well that I enjoy what I did, but this is my life, and this is where I belong, and this is what really makes me happy. So yes, I'm not smiling as much today because I have a game in 2 days and not long time to work. But deep inside, I'm really, really happy, and every minute I spend in the club, I realize that my option was correct. I'm really enjoying a big football club with a big structure, with a great organization, where I'm really, really more focused on my job, on my coaching, on my players, on my team, and not worried at all with everything that surrounds me. Because it's not about the wonderful structure that we have, it's also about the dynamic of the structure, and fantastic, really amazing. I'm more than happy to be here.
On a scale of 1 to 10, Jose, where would you put that happiness? And also on a scale of 1 to 10, how difficult a job will it be to just take Spurs that extra step to win trophies?
Happiness-wise, and convincement that my choice was a great one, a 10. I couldn't be happier. In relation to the difficulty of the job, every time a club changes at mid-season is because the situation is not good. That's obvious. Unless something strange happens that we don't know outside, basically the results sometimes make these decisions. And of course it's not easy, but if I forget, I can't forget, but if I forget that in 2 days I have a match, if I forget that in 4 days I have another match, and that we need results and that we have objectives, if I can forget that, I wouldn't say a great job, because the potential of the club is huge, the potential of the players is great. I'm so happy. It was one of the reasons why I come, was because the vision that Mr. Levy put in front of me about his club and the quality of the players, the quality of the squad were the main reasons why I decided to come. So I know that I have potentially a great job in my hands. That's not easy because I need to be balanced. I cannot think that I can come and in 2 days or 4 days to change things. I don't have a great experience of getting teams in mid-season. It's only the second time I do it. I did it in Porto in I think 2001, and but I thought about it during these months because I had obviously the feeling that I'm going to get a team mid-season. So I thought about it a lot, and the conclusion was I'm going to have always a game 2 days after my appointment or 3 days after. I need to go through stability. I need to trust the base, and the base is the work that was done before. And they were in hands of a good manager, they were in hands of a good coaching staff. Of course, we have always principles of play, we have always principles in our leadership style that are going to change, that's obvious. But I cannot come here and think that it's about my fingerprint, it's about myself. It's not about myself, it's about the players. And to try to go from a base of stability. So very, very careful about the selection of the information, about the selection of the training exercises, a good control of the intensity, of the density of the training sessions, to try to go from a base of some comfort to the boys. So it's not easy, but let's go for it.
You said there you're thinking a lot in the summer when you're 11 months out. I know you've been studying, keeping up to date with your documentation, keeping an eye on football changes, other sports as well. I think you quoted Darwin at one point about adapting. Despite all you've won, do you think you're now a new improved Jose?
I think so. I believe so. I have to believe so. I always thought that these 11 months were not a waste of time. These 11 months were months to think, to analyze, to rethink, to prepare, to anticipate things. And I think so. I think you never lose your DNA, you never lose your identity. You are what you are, for the good things, for the bad things. But I had time to think about many things. Don't ask me what are the mistakes, but I realized that during my career I also made mistakes, and I'm not going to make the same mistakes. I'm going to make new mistakes, not the same mistakes. So I had time. I think I'm stronger, and when I say I'm stronger, I'm not saying I'm fitter. I was always fit, but I think I'm stronger by the emotional point of view. I'm relaxed. I'm motivated. I'm ready, and I think the players they felt that in 2 days. I think they felt that I'm ready. I'm ready to support them. This is not about me. I think in your career you go through moments, not just in your career, I think also in our lives you go through moments and through periods, and I am in a period where it's not about myself at all. It's about my club, it's about my club fans, it's about my players, it's not about me. I'm just here to try to help everyone.
Josie, you just said don't ask you what your mistakes were, but what would you say the key thing you've learnt about yourself in the last year and this break from management has been, and what do you intend to do differently this time?
I am humble. I am humble enough to try to analyze, which was what I did, to try to analyze my career, not just the last year, but to analyze my career, the evolution, the problems, the solutions. I was humble enough for that. The principle of the analyze was not to blame anyone else. And when I had meetings with my assistants and the people that I thought about bringing to work with me in this chapter, was always based on the principle there is nobody else to blame, there is nobody else to analyze, it's just only about us. And that was a great thing, because I went really deep in that analyze, and was very important for me. And I'm nobody to advise people, but sometimes to have a break looked very, very positive for me. I can say that because it was the first summer that I didn't work, was not easy. I felt a little bit lost during that pre-season period. But before that and after that was a learning process. I even learned how to be a pundit.
Yesterday, you promised passion and happiness. You've mentioned the word happiness a fair few times already today. Happiness was not something we saw a lot of from you towards the end at United. Do you feel like you've got your mojo back?
I have to go to Google Translator to understand what mojo is. But I can more or less feeling what you mean. When I don't win, I cannot be happy, and I cannot change that in my DNA. And I hope I can influence the players of not be happy without winning football matches. If you are happy by losing football matches, it's difficult to be a winner in any moment of your career. That's a basic principle. But the emotional control, to keep the self-esteem, to keep confidence in yourself, to show confidence to the others, to keep confidence in the other ones that work with you and around you, I think this is a very, very important principle. And another thing that I also have to learn, but the people that works with me, they have also to learn, is that sometimes you have to work with people that you don't love and work well. And the other thing is that people that works for you and with you, they have also to learn how to share your principles. And I have principles that I will keep for the rest of my career, and that I cannot change. And one of these principles is I don't like to lose.
Just finally from me, Spurs fans know you as Mr. Chelsea. What are you going to do, or what do you need to do to get them on side and win them over?
No, I think they have to see me as Mr. Inter, Mr. Real Madrid, Mr. Porto. I think they have to see me as Mr. Club, which means every club that I go, as I used to say in a funny way, I arrive, I wear the pyjama of the club, and I even sleep with the pyjama. I work and I sleep. You know, tracksuit, pyjama, you confuse the tracksuit with the pyjama. So that's the way I am. I am a club man, but many clubs man. I decided in my career to have this adventure, go through different countries until I did it, what I call the Grand Slam, Italy, Spain, and England, Spain, and Italy. I didn't stop. I wanted to do it, and I did it with this passion. Then, of course, the Premier League is what I always told is my natural habitat. Is where I most loved. Is where I feel that if I have the options, I always told that is the football country and the football league that I consider the best, the most enjoyable, and where I'm happy. So when you decide to stay more years in the same country, in modern football, I think Mr. Wenger was probably the last of that generation of a big era in the football club. Sir Alex, then Mr. Wenger. Mauricio, 5.5 years is amazing, is really amazing. So it's normal that you change from club to club. I wouldn't be surprised if tomorrow Mauricio is the manager of another English club. And this is modernity in football, and people has to look for that. And if I play against one of my previous clubs, which I will, at least Chelsea and Manchester United, but hopefully Inter or Real Madrid in the Champions League, Porto no, because they are in the Europa League this season. But if I play against one of my teams, which I did many times, I have only one shirt, I have only one passion, I have only one thing in my mind, which is my clubs, and now is Spurs. I won the Champions League with Porto, and 3 months later I was playing against Porto. And that's just life, and that's the way it is. So I'm not Chelsea, I'm not United, I'm not Real Madrid, I'm not Inter. I am all of them. I give everything to all of them. And that's what I'm going to do here, is to give absolutely everything I have.
Jose, welcome back to London.
Thank you.
15 years ago when I interviewed you...
So I'm going to meet you every time after the game.
Yeah, is that okay?
In cold tunnels after the game, freezing, you are going to be there all the time, man.
Life could be worse?
Could be worse. You are a good guy. You are one of the good ones.
15 years ago when I met you, we both had less grey hair. You said you were the special one. I'm not looking for a label, but you say today you're really humble. But that brashness you had 15 years ago is what made you the greatest manager. Are you worried that if you're going to be humble, maybe you'll lose some of that?
No. I was always humble. The problem is that you didn't understand that. I was always humble, in my way. In my way. So no problem with that.
And some of the problems you will encounter here, players that are running out of contract, like Alderweireld, Vertonghen and Eriksen, and no away wins since January. How are you going to put all that right, and can you keep the players that want to leave?
It's too early days, second day. I had no time for individual cases. I don't know how I can influence or try to influence. I didn't have time, Mr. Levy didn't have time to go around this. The first thing, I think it is the players to feel good, and if they are going to leave in January, if they are going to leave in June, if they are going to sign a new contract, I think everything has to be based on feeling good. And feel good is to be ready for Saturday, to be there, available for the team, which Jon cannot do because of injuries, but to be ready for the team. Then it's about the club, it's about them, it's about me, it's about Mr. Levy, but fundamentally it's about the players to be happy. You have to be happy. You have to choose what makes you happy. So let's see. But in this moment, let's go on the short term, and the short term is we have to try to get 2 results in the next 2 matches, because it's important in the Premier League. We have to disappear from that area where we don't belong. And in the Champions League we have 2 matches to qualify, but if you can qualify after the first match, which will be my first match at home, would be better.
Okay, take a question down here.
Boa tarde, José Mourinho. Vou ter de fazer a pergunta em inglês, mas não queria deixar de desejar boa sorte em português.
Obrigado.
Is Tottenham the biggest challenge you had in your career because of the need of the club to start winning titles and because of the big expectations that everyone have on you of your comeback?
I see every challenge with the same responsibility. I cannot answer to you in a very objective way. Is my challenge in this moment? But I don't even feel it, as I was saying before, that this is about me. I understand that people will look at me about myself. I understand that when a top player goes to some club, people try to focus on him and on his success. I don't think it's about the player and the player's success. It's about the team's success. I think this is globality. That's the way I see it. Is a club situation. Is a club vision. Is a club objectives. Is not a Mourinho vision or Mourinho objectives. Is about us. So I don't feel it this. I don't feel it this way. And is already almost 2 decades of big clubs, of big challenges, of big expectations. I think I am guilty of it because with my career I create so many expectations in the people. I think it's also in this case Spurs' fault because in the last years the club grew up in such a direction where people is waiting even for better days. So we have to go together and stick together and think just about the good things that we can do.
I would like to ask if you have already a Christmas list to the next transfer market and if Bruno Fernandes is in it.
Christmas list?
For the transfer market. Players.
I'm thinking about gifts I have to give to the people I love, and that is always a problem because I always like to give the best gifts. I always try to be very analytical and try to understand what people would love as a gift. Players, the best gift is the ones that are here. I don't need players. I don't need players. I'm so happy with the players I have. I just need time to understand them better, to know everything about them. Because I always say, you only know a player when you work with them. Of course, how many times I watch these guys, how many times I play against them. I know them well, but you never know them well enough until you work with them. And my gift is this squad. The squad is very, very good.
Carrie.
Mauricio, it was a very sudden turn of events. Could you tell us how you felt when you woke up in the morning and you were Tottenham's manager?
This morning I woke up in here in the training ground. I stayed. We worked yesterday until very, very late, and we all stayed in the lodge. And if we were trying to find a 6-star hotel, we couldn't find better than in here. Absolutely amazing. Great beds, huge pillows. Huge pillows, amazing. You sleep in the middle of 5 or 6 huge soft pillows. Very, very good. Expensive duvet. Expensive duvet, so good. So this morning I woke up with all my guys 7 o'clock and start working. So that's what I want. Really, really happy. So
It was a big shock for the players, and now they're with one of the most successful managers in history. What did you say to them, and how much did you have to think about that moment? How did it
I told them exactly what I'm telling you. I told them that one of the reasons why I decided to come was them. I tried to buy some of them for different clubs. I couldn't. Some of them I didn't even try because you know how impossible it is. But I like this squad very, very much. I like the players very, very much. It's not something new that I say that. It's not like, okay, now you are their manager, you are telling that because you want to look nice for them. That's not the point. I told that 2, 3, 4 years ago. So I'm really, really happy. Like, you know.
Luis.
Come on, don't
Hello.
let him ask questions.
Why? Why?
Everyone thought the same about you.
No, oh, come on, it's very difficult. You will come with a philosophy.
Oh, no,
question.
philosopher, no.
Oh,
No, it's as simple as that.
One question then.
No, two.
you will see. You will see.
No, two. In terms of football,
Oh,
in which area do you have to improve the Pochettino's team now? I mean, how are you going to be your first changes in the team?
I don't want to make big changes. As I was saying before, I want to respect the base, and the base is the work they did for 5.5 years. It's not the work they did for 2 days. The work they did for 2 days is, we hope that it is a plus, that it is an update, is not a change. The base is what they did before. This is not about me. This is not about me coming here and say everything was wrong with Mauricio. Not at all. Not at all. I just come to try to understand why in the last year the results in the Premier League were not good, and to try to understand how I can help them to reach again a good level. Because as I was saying, the players are very good, and I'm not here to make dramatic changes. I'm just here to follow a process, to have my ideas in a progressive way, don't losing stability, you know, don't create confusion in their brains, you know. In football you have to express yourself, you cannot be confused. So I'm going to be very, very careful in relation to that.
You are a, let us say, serial winner. Do you think no winning the final in the Champions League play a toll in the squad of Mauricio Pochettino?
I don't know, because I never lost a Champions League final. But I can imagine it's not easy. You know, you reach one of the biggest moments that you can achieve in football. You are one step away from it. You cannot do it. I can imagine that is not easy. But you have the example of Liverpool, that one year they lost the Premier League by 1 point, and they lost the Champions League by 1 goal. And the next season, which is the current season, they are very strong in the Premier League. And last season, which is the season after they lost the Champions League final, they went very, very strong and they win it. So I don't think there is something that we can say there is a rule. Depend on the way people react to it. And of course I don't want to go as deep as that, because that is their history in the club. I don't want to go as deep as that.
Okay, guys, I'm conscious there's a lot of people that do still want to ask questions. Can we limit it to 1 question each now, please? So we'll start with this gentleman here, but it is 1 each, okay? Thank you.
Hello, Mr. Mourinho, Tiago Pérez Costa from Sport TV Portugal. First of all, best wishes for you.
Obrigado.
In terms of style of play, what kind of game we will see Tottenham playing?
Very similar to before. That's what I keep saying. Very similar to before. Of course, I'm going to try to add some details, and sometimes details they can make the difference. And progressively, we will arrive, obviously, to a fingerprint. But the style of play has to be always adapted, not just the club culture, but especially to the players' qualities. And that's the way it is. So these are the players. They have their qualities, adapted to a certain way of playing football. And that's the way we want to do it.
You said a little earlier that sometimes you have to work with people you don't love and you have to make it work. Is that the biggest lesson you learned at United?
It's one of the lessons, if you want to call it a lesson. For me, it's just experiences, and accumulation of experiences. For me, it's just about that. You have to learn with your experience, especially when you have time to analyze everything at detail. I think is a very important thing, but I cannot say it's a lesson because again, I go back to my answer before. This is also about principles, and if people share principles, I read one quote, a little work about Kobe Bryant, and if we have to speak about some example of professionalism and serial winner, Kobe is a great example in his sport, in the world of sport, where he says, people say that I'm difficult, but I'm only difficult for the ones that don't share my principles. So all the colleagues that share his principles, they just love him. The ones that don't like him are the ones that don't share the principles. And with me is basically the same. For me, everything is about the team. It's not about selfish people. For me, everything is about the group and professionalism and commitment and respect for the club and respect for the mates, respect for the fans. I cannot run away from this. So if there is somebody that doesn't share these principles with me, then we have a problem, and we will always have a problem, because this is the way I think football has to be, and the players are only big when they make the others better. You cannot be a big player if you just think about yourself. That's another principle. To be a big player, you have to make other better. If I have players that they think they are big and they just care about themselves and they forget to help others to be big, we are always going to have a problem.
Okay, Amy, we're just going to do 1, 2, James 3, 4, 5, okay? And that will be the end. So Amy, if you start, thank you.
Jose, 4 years ago when you were at Chelsea, you were asked if you would ever come to Spurs and you said, never, I love the Chelsea fans too much. What's changed?
Yeah, before I was sacked.
How do you think the fans will respond to you, Chelsea fans, next month?
You know, that's modern football. You know, when my father was a player, and before the Bosman law, the players used to play 20 years in the same club, every day with the same player next to him, the same guy on the right side in the dressing room, the same centre back in front of the keeper, for 15 years, for 20 years. In this moment, in relation to players after Bosman law, everything changed. In relation to us coaches, because in some part because of you, we lost that stability. There is lots of pressure. Even for the nature of society now, it looks like everything is fast. Even the relationships are fast. Players can get tired of each other. They can get tired of the manager. Everything looks like is faster. So we need to change. So when I went to Manchester United, we are not even speaking about Tottenham Hotspurs. When I went to Manchester United, if I stay in England only for Chelsea, I'll have to be waiting for a third opportunity. Probably third opportunity, another Premier League, because every time I go there, I win the Premier League. But that's not the point. So I went to Manchester United with a free mind, with a free heart. Manchester United occupied my heart, even with things that I didn't enjoy too much, but I loved so much of the Manchester United things, the fans, the people that works in the club. I just love it. And now it's about Spurs, and I just hope that I can be really, really happy here, make people happy, and there is not a bigger, let's say, fan than myself. If somebody in the world wants Spurs to win, wants Spurs to be successful, there is not one person that wants more than me. Probably the same, but not more than me. So Chelsea is past, great past. You know, two periods of titles, great past, but it's past.
So you're basically
Amy,
saying...
sorry, I know it is one question per person, because I'm conscious there are a lot of people in the
Good afternoon, my name is Miguel Cardoso Pereira from the newspaper de José Mourinho.
Olá,
Muitas
boa tarde.
felicidades para si, para a sua
Obrigado,
carreira,
obrigado.
fica a torcer por si.
Obrigado.
The last time you took a job in the middle of a season, which was in Porto nearly 20 years ago, I remember you saying that you could not win the league that year, but that you would definitely win the league the following year, which you did, and that was pretty much the beginning of your international career. In respect to Tottenham's motto, which is written outside, to dare is to do. Would you dare to say that again, that you will win the Premier League the following year?
We cannot win the Premier League this season. We can. I'm not saying we will do. We can win next season.
James, do you want to put your hand up? So I know you're after a question. Grab the microphone from behind you. Thank you.
Hello, Jose.
Hey.
How excited are you to work with this group of players? These are players you've seen on television and superficially at least for a while, but how excited are you to get to know them more deeply?
Yeah, it's one of the reasons I come. Everything started with Mr. Levy's vision for the club that he shared with me in a very, very specific way that impressed me. But, you know, I wouldn't come to a club where with the big, you know, I don't know the word in English, with the big décalage, French, I don't know, between what I think is a good level of players and the level of the team. I think we have a very good squad, we have good young players coming. I don't know in detail, but is an academy that normally produces good talents. As I always say, there is not one manager in the world that doesn't like to play and to help young players to develop. The problem is that some of them, they have the young players to bring them, and some they don't. I was lucky to have Scott McTominay as a kid, Rafael Varane as a kid, Balotelli as a kid. I was lucky to have talents in the majority of the clubs where I've been. So if Tottenham is a great academy that produces great players, is also something nice.
Okay, so last two questions are just one and two. Okay.
Ciao José, Filippo Benicampi, Sky Sport Italia.
Ciao.
Lo sai che hai tantissimi fan in Italia, quindi se
Grazie
puoi
mille, ciao.
rispondere in italiano sarebbe fantastico.
I can answer in Italian.
He's got a lot of fans in Italy, so
If I speak
Italians
in
will be
Italian,
happy.
the
But
Portuguese
anyway,
guy will start crying.
Keep it in English.
my question is, you helped Chelsea win their first Premier League title in 50 years, Inter Milan their first Champions League title in 45 years. And everybody knows in Italy you don't like ending up seasons with zero titoli, no titles. Do you think this is one of the biggest challenge in your career, helping Tottenham winning trophies again? Thanks.
I think if we win titles, will be the consequence not of me, but the consequence of the club work. And this is a package. This is a vision. Everything starts with a vision. And, you know, the stadium is part of the vision. The training ground is part of the vision. The academy is part of the vision. To try to keep all the best players and to refuse to let the best players go away is part of the vision too. Maybe to have a manager with my experience is also part of the vision. I think this is about the vision, and if we win a title, it doesn't matter when. My contract is 3.5 years. If we win a title during my period, will not be because of myself. Is just the natural consequence of a vision and a plan.
Okay. Last question is just here.
Hola José, Diego Plaza para el Chiringuito. Suerte.
Gracias.
Suerte en
Muchas
su nueva
gracias.
etapa. In Spain, some people missing you, and you spoke about your other clubs. Did you speak with Real Madrid in the last 10 months or before to sign here?
If you want to call my friends at Real Madrid, yeah, I speak with them many, many times. I have so many friends there. The president is the first one. He loves me, I love him. We are friends. We speak. We change an SMS. We wish luck. Merry Christmas, Happy Birthday, good luck for the game. I have friends. I loved my period there, as you know. We did amazing things in there. We had our problems, we had our frustrations, but it was an amazing period for me. I feel always very flattered when I leave these things behind me, which go above success, above football. Is about the human being, is about the relations. I received 50 messages yesterday from Manchester United people. Some players, some staff over the different areas of the club, the board, everybody. And that for me means the world. It's not about winning, not winning. It's about the respect that people has for you, because you are a good professional, because you are a good person, because you create empathies. So Real Madrid is part of my life, a good part of my life, and I always wish them good. I'm always happy when Real Madrid goes in the right direction, and a part of, if we play them in Champions League, a part of that match, I just want Real Madrid to win and to be successful.
Okay, guys, that will conclude the broadcast part of the press conference. Thank you very much.